This is a homage beat.
Grace and peace, grace and peace. Thanks again for tuning in to another episode of So the Lord. It's your boy Brandon. Good to be back with you. Like I said last week, this is the last time me and Jermel are gonna be recording for the podcast. I recorded next week's episode already. Like I said, I got a very special guest recorded, so I'm excited to throw that one out. But as far as me and Jermel are concerned, we're done recording the book. This is the very last one, so it's very, bittersweet. This is great that we've got towards, because we started, I don't know if we started December. We started December, January.
I think it was January.
So just to see how far we've come. So I just want to thank everybody else who's been a part of the recording. All right, sorry about that, y'all. We be having these technical difficulties. It's just like a 3-man staff here. Once we get better at this, because like we said, we want to continue podcasting. We're gonna have a videographer, so just a little behind the scenes. I got my iPhone set up on the stand, and it just popped off. So that's what you heard, and we ain't editing it out either. But that's what ended up happening. But I believe I was thanking those who had joined this year, helping me with the podcast. And so, like I said, I can't express how grateful I am just to have people come along. Because, like I said, it's a lot of work that goes into these, a lot of preparation. Because, like I said, we don't know where they're going to go. It's just amazing to see how God works and what He'll do with the concepts that come up. Because, like I said, I do a little brief outline, try to prepare some questions for Jermel, and we just kind of, freestyle it. So it's just great to see how the Lord works and just to bring us this far. So just thank you for all those who came and helped be a part of communicating the gospel, because that's pretty much what we were trying to do. But last week we were talking about money. Like I said, a lot of the questions you're like, Brandon, what are you talking about? But hopefully that one piqued your interest. We were just talking about money and what is why is money a necessity? And so often we think that we are in need of money, and to a degree we are. But money, we simply needed to obtain the things that we need to survive. And just emphasizing that, there was a point in time where money didn't exist, that there was a form of trade called bartering, where either you had livestock or you just had a trade and you would exchange things that way. So you were able to survive without money. And the way you were able to survive with the resources that were already on the earth. And I believe our greatest resource that we have is our intellect. But I was begging the question, where does the livestock come from? Because when you put the animals here, and how do we gain this intelligence? I'm saying it was God who has given us, that He is the infinite intelligent designer, and He's equipped us to survive, that we are not dependent on money, but we are dependent on Him to survive. And ultimately we are dependent on Christ, that you cannot love money and love God, that you're going to serve one and I hate the other. And it's the love of money. That money is a good thing, but you're not supposed to love it. It's not supposed to become your idol, that you're not supposed to depend on it. And it's easier said than done, because like I said, we all in need of money. I think I speak for everyone here. We are in debt. So I don't want to make money seem as if it's a bad thing, but ultimately we are to depend on God. And so that was last week's episode. So if you haven't had a chance, please check it out. But this week, our last week between me and Jermel, this one, because I remember like there's certain concepts that are probably like, yo, what are you talking about? Like I remember one, like the one about prostitution. That's not one that sticks out to you as that one. And then this one, the one that we're doing is concept number 38. Why do we wear clothes? Now, this one, when you just say it off the bat, it's gonna sound crazy. And there's two guys talking about why do you wear clothes. But I promise you, this is definitely a great truth that it reveals. So I'm excited to jump in. But before I do that, how are you doing, my brother Jermel, man? It's the last one, man. How you been?
Man, last one, man. Been a good journey, man, but I'm doing all right, man. Day was busy, but it's been all good, man. A lot been going on. A lot of just incredible things happening, man.
Absolutely.
Definitely, man. I'll share with the audience that I shared it with the brothers already. Just with this last one, to share with everybody, me and my wife are expecting a little baby, man.
Congrats,
So
man.
hopefully next time that God willing that we get back and start this new thing up with the podcast, closer to the end of the year, we'll have like an addition to the group, man. So looking forward
Junior,
to
it.
We'll see. Crazy. We'll see.
I'm calling it. I'm saying it's a boy. I'm calling the boy.
Shoot it, man.
I'm calling
Shoot
the boy.
Your shot. Shoot your shot, man. But definitely, man, that's been like a blessing, man. Like I've been able to see that because I've just been sharing, even on the podcast, being transparent about different things, ups and downs through my job and just personal life, just some ups and downs. It's been a blessing, like, to see that come out of it.
Yeah, man.
In the end, man, that going through that, still being able to stay strong and like not depend on myself, but know that strength come from God, and a blessing like that come after dealing with some of the things me and my wife dealt with, praying for that and dealing with like ups and downs with it, just really waiting on God and Him answering that prayer. I mean, it's a testament to who He is, man. Yeah. It's grown our faith and helping. We still trying to figure things out, but things are good, man. That's a blessing, man. That just being able to do that, preferably that seeing that testimony me and my wife have, that'll just be able to lead someone to the gospel, man. Lead someone to Christ and just encourage somebody. But man, everything is all good right now, man. I can't complain. What about you, bro?
Like I said, it's bittersweet last episode, but like I was just telling y'all before we started, I love the medium of podcasting. Like I said, we just gonna get better. I didn't want to make any excuses. Got a microphone, got a laptop recording from the iPhone, so we gonna run into little hiccups like that, you know. But you just gotta endure, man, because you know if you can't be responsible with the little that God is giving you, how you gonna bless you with anything more? So it's easily because I'm like I said, I'm more reserved, want to be behind the scenes, but God put me in a position where He says be faithful. So He's calling me to be faithful with the little. And like I said, just throughout this journey, God has brought people my way. And so now I've got ideas for what I want to do in the future. And that's all possible because of this. So we've got other ideas that we want to do, just giving just good content to the people, and just pray that he continues to grow it. And if He don't grow it just like numerically, I know He's growing our faith. And that may be all what success looks like. Just us as brothers just growing and increasing in the Lord. Because oftentimes we think in success, I got 100 people listening to my podcast, this, that, and the third. And it's like, maybe God, that ain't what God called me to. Maybe just putting it out there, just using this to edify us and grow and mature us. And I got to be cool with that, I gotta be cool. I gotta be content with that. But it's been real. It's been a great. Cause like I said, I never would have imagined this would have came out of me writing a book that I'm just trying to share the gospel with people who I love and try to do it in a way where hopefully it's engaging and they are receptive to it, and hopefully Lord willing, that they come to know the truth, and not just for unbelievers but believers as well. That I feel like this is hopefully equipping believers as well, where you can have a conversation with someone and be like, oh, you talking about money? Oh, I know how to relate this back to the gospel. So that's what I really enjoy that, just having conversations with you and just seeing how it connects with you is like, I could have never imagined what effect my words or the words that God has given me would have had on someone else. So it's been an honor and a privilege. But I'm excited about this week's concept because, like I said, just on the surface, it sounds crazy. I admit that. It sounds crazy. But I was telling y'all last week, this one made me tear up a little bit, and hopefully once we get to the end, you'll see why it affected me this much. But we'll jump right in. I'll start off the chapter saying, I say, this is a question that makes most blush. While others may think it's a ridiculous question to ask, however, the question is important because it is another way to distinguish humans from animals. We live in a society where we blur the line between humans and animals, yet wearing clothes is exclusively a human characteristic. In fact, most clothes humans wear come from animals. And acknowledging this, the question still remains. Say, not being naked is the obvious answer to the question of why we wear clothes. However, if humans are nothing more than highly evolved animals, why does being naked matter? No other animal cares about being clothed. Humans are the only ones that are concerned with such things. And so my first question to you, and this is kind of harkening back to last week where I was saying it was very apologetic. And this one, especially starting off, this one to a degree was apologetic, just kind of refuting that atheistic evolutionary worldview, because I'll say this. I like try to argue. I grant you your point. Okay, say there is no God. Say evolution is real. So if we nothing more than animals, when we look at the animal kingdom, how come we the only ones who care about being clothed? Yeah. You know, like why no other animal cares about this? And so for me, I thought it was a legitimate point. Now, again, you don't come from an atheistic or an evolutionary worldview, but just trying to check myself and check my own bias. Do you think that's a legitimate point, or do you think it's a weak argument?
I mean, I feel like you have a point, but I guess I could also see where the person coming from that different perspective could take it and be like, well, I mean, that's an obvious thing. Yeah. And just, I don't know where their basis may be from, you know what I'm saying? Because I don't have that worldview. Yeah. But I see where you're coming from and your point that you're making about us as people. Like, at some point we had to make a choice. Animals really don't make that choice. That's just how they naturally are. Yeah. So at some point we had to be made differently from them. And
that's the whole point that I'm making, that there's something uniquely different about an animal and a human. Yeah. But the evolutionists would have you believe you just a highly evolved animal. Yeah. You know, and it just trying to challenge that view. But just thinking practically, you got on clothes, I got on clothes. Just practically speaking, why do we wear clothes? Just on a practical level.
Cover ourselves from the elements. Yeah. And honestly, I don't know if anybody else, man. I've had a dream that I was naked before. Like,
I think I've
had a dream, and it makes
it's gonna get weird on this podcast, y'all. Just so y'all know.
I had this dream like that. I don't know. I feel like I had this dream where like I just show up somewhere in my underwear and I gotta run to go put on some clothes. Like I just feel so embarrassed or something when I wake up, man. So just it's some shame with it a little bit just for me. Yeah. Like man. Certain people you don't mind, like if you in the gym or something, you take your shirt off, you don't care, but you might put that shirt on when you go out inside, not just because you may feel uncomfortable with yourself, but you just know that it's not seen as being appropriate to take your shirt off random places. So yeah, man, that's reasonable clothes. It could be like to protect yourself if it's cold, put on something like to protect yourself, but it also like to protect ourselves from things we feel like insecurities.
Man, yeah, you hit it right on the head. So I say, practically speaking, we wear clothes for protection. You know, clothing protects us from the elements. We wear a hat to protect from the sun, and a coat to protect us from the cold, and boots to protect us from the rain. I say, without clothing, our bodies will be vulnerable to the elements. So that's just the practical reasons that we do so. I say, however, animals are subject to the same elements. But I don't see no animal putting on no boots when it's raining, or no hat when it's hot. So it's like, there's got to be a deeper meaning, and you kind of hit on it. You kind of hit on it. I say some suggest that it's not socially acceptable to walk around naked. I say there are social and legal standards when it comes to decency. And like I said, this was a fun topic because just looking up these things, I say there is no federal law against nudity. Each state has its own standard. I say generally most states prohibit nudity. But it says, yet in New York, Hawaii, Maine, Ohio, and Texas are unique in that they have laws expressly allowing women to go topless in any location where men could do so legally. And just funny side note, me and Jermel, we went and played basketball on Memorial Day. And so we get in our cars and we about to dip, and I see Jermel, he takes off his shirt and he changed it because he was drenched. And so, you know, it's like, you don't think nothing of it as a man, but if you see a woman doing that, you'd be like, yeah. But apparently, if we was in the state of Texas, if a woman did it, it would be legal. What are your thoughts on that? You know, just that idea, because like I said, most of us don't give it a second thought if we see a man topless. But if we would see a woman topless, we'd be like, whoa, we have some cause to pause. What are your thoughts on that, man?
In all honesty, Texas being up there surprises me.
Yeah, because it's one of the more conservative.
It's some more conservative, a little deep red.